What up, B Squad? It is your boy JB, and I am here today with the review for Life After Lockup Season 4, Episode 48. Love Isn't Enough is the title of the episode, you guys. Before we go ahead and get into it, if you guys are watching this video or any other on the channel, and you guys aren't subscribed yet, do me a solid favor and stop taking me out on this date and having me pay for it at the end of it. You guys know the routine. You can do me that favor by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, turning on your post notifications, and sharing the video. And with that out of the way, without further ado, let's discuss Life After Lockup, or Love After Lockup, shall we? All right, you guys, so I'm just gonna start up with the couples who I don't care about the most and work our way on up this list. So first up, Brittany and Marcelino, you guys. So I still don't understand what the purpose of Brittany and Marcelino are on this season. They're giving absolutely nothing. And what they do give, it very much so gives me that it's a storyline, because I just don't think that it's real. So you guys know that in the last time we saw Brittany and Marcelino, she was upset at him. You know, they're not having sex. There's a communication issue with them. But the next morning that they wake up, he's cooked her some toast, and they're in a good space. And he's talking about how he needs to listen to her, and she says that he needs to listen to her too. So I'm just like, so what was the purpose in any of this? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. So Brittany tells Marcelino that she's going to be taking the kids and she's going to be going to yoga, right? But she's going to leave Gio behind so that Marcelino can talk to Gio, because Gio told Brittany that he feels the sadness around the house. I was like, wow, so we're including the kids now in the storyline? Okay. I mean, I guess. So we see Marcelino, he's talking to the little boy. And I guess the only thing I got from this is I guess that Brittany and Marcelino are going to have another wedding, or he's going to buy some flowers. I don't know. Let me know what you guys got from it, because again, to me, it feels like a storyline. It doesn't feel like anything is real. Like I've said plenty of times before, I feel like the last real thing with Brittany and Marcelino that happened with them was Brittany's mom relapsing. That is the last thing that I feel was real with those two. Anything else, I just feel like is being manufactured for this show. But again, you guys can tell me how you feel in the comment section, and we're gonna pause here and we're gonna move over to the next couple who I don't care about. Next up, Lindsay and Blaine, you guys. So Lindsay is having this huge meltdown because, you know, she's the only person that's paying the bills around the house. She's the only one that's carrying their weight, right? Granted, I will give you that is frustrating to live in I don't know nothing about that, but I can imagine it would be frustrating living in the house with someone who is not pulling their weight, right? But the situation with Blaine is the fact that he's on house arrest. So, I mean, there's not much he can do. He can't, I mean, if he gets a job, that job is probably going to have to be part-time, or he could do full-time and, you know, work in the morning and then but again, to work a full 8 hours, I mean, I don't know. But it is what it is, and I don't really care, to be quite honest with you guys, right? So Lindsay called up her sponsor, and she was frantic. You know, she's telling her sponsor how she just feels triggered because in the house, she's the only one that's pulling the weight. So the sponsor tells her, maybe it's time for you to take a break and take time to yourself. I was like, maybe, right? You know, Lindsay's going to do what Lindsay wants to do, right? So at one point, she and Blaine got into it. I don't know if she told him to leave. I'm like, but he can't leave because of the ankle monitor on his ankle, right? So Blaine got his stuff, and he was going to go. He went to the car, and she was like, if you take my car, I'm gonna report that bitch as stolen, and you're gonna be in jail so fast. I was like, wow, that's pretty low as hell to threaten a man's freedom because you're pissed. That would have been the moment that I would have been done with Lindsay. I would have told her, you know what, fuck it, fuck this, fuck off, and I'm out of here, because no, you're not gonna sit here and threaten my freedom because you're having a temper tantrum. Like, let's just keep it real. She was having a temper tantrum. However you guys want to see it, that's how you see it. But I see it as a temper tantrum. Now, granted, like I said, I don't know the frustration of living in a house with somebody who doesn't pull their weight, but I'm pretty sure it can be frustrating, especially if the person is able-bodied and they don't have anything that is tying them down. That would be frustrating. I get that part. So she eventually left the house and she went over there where her mom's was. Now, he at one point called her ungrateful bitch. I was like, well, damn. Huh. I was like, okay, tell us how you really feel, right? But that's really all I got. He called her. He was on the phone crying. I was like, is he really crying? He told the producers at one point that they were done, that they can take the D-Mic him. They did that. That's all I got for that scene. I don't really care. Let's pause here and move forward to the next scene. All right, you guys. So next up, let's talk about the deadbeat and the murderer. So the deadbeat and the murderer, you guys. Sean had me effed up this entire scene in this episode with him and the murderer. So you guys know that the deadbeat is feeling some type of way that the murderer wants to introduce her daughter to her father, right? So the deadbeat is talking about the fact that, well, the deadbeat is talking about the fact that he wanted to adopt Sarah's daughter. I was like, say, what now? Now, murderer, if you sit here and let this deadbeat adopt your child, you a damn fool. You gonna let a deadbeat who wasn't in his kids' lives adopt your child just so that your child can have the same last name as her sister. Fuck and that. That deadbeat would not be adopting my child. I'm sorry. I just would never allow someone like the deadbeat to adopt my child. I wouldn't even let the deadbeat adopt a cow, a pig, a horse, a dog, a cat, a possum, a skunk. I wouldn't let him adopt any of those things, let alone a child. The fuck out of here with that stuff. So the deadbeat tells, the murderer tells the deadbeat that Anthony wants to tell Abby he's her father, right? So the deadbeat he's feeling a way about this. And I'm like, why do you feel some type of way about this? That is that man's child. Like, if the man wants to be in his daughter's life, that's actually a good thing. It's not a bad thing. I know you think somebody wants the murderer, but he wants to be in his daughter's life, right? So so the murderer wants to come up with a plan with Anthony about how they are going to reveal that he's her father, right? So the murderer wants the deadbeat to be there when they talk about this. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like, why? It's not like the deadbeat is her like, yes, he's her stepfather, but he has no parental rights to this girl. Like, what the hell are you talking about? So the deadbeat is dead set against it because he feels like Anthony wants to get back with the murderer. You acting like never mind, I'm gonna shut up on that one, right? But like I will say, the deadbeat is hella delusional. Like, he has this issue with this man, and it's his daughter. Like, that is his child, not yours. Go worry about the kids that you don't give a fuck about. Like, go worry about them kids. How about you do that? So we see the deadbeat and the murderer as they're getting ready to go meet Anthony. The deadbeat is still in his feelings. I'm like, sir, why are you in your feelings? Really and truly, I think the reason why the deadbeat was in his feelings is it has nothing. He can play this off like he's trying to protect Abby, but that's not what it is. The deadbeat is worried that the murderer will leave him for Anthony. That's really all this is, right? So Anthony says that the deadbeat looks old as hell. I was like, he is old as hell. Lying sack of crap. So Anthony tried to shake the deadbeat's hand. The deadbeat said, no, I'm not shaking your hand. I would have told the murderer, I'm like, you know what? You can send him home somewhere. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be disrespected by something that looks like that. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be disrespected. Like, I extended my hand to you. That is common courtesy to say, oh, hi, how are you? Nah, I'm not at that point right now. This has nothing to do with you. If this is about Abby and you want what's best for Abby, that's her father. Biology can't change that. Nothing can change the fact that that is her father. If you want what's best for her, you could have sat there and shook that man's hand, right? Then the deadbeat is he's a little bitch boy because he got in his feelings and he left, right? So when he left and then he came back, he said, "You know what? I was wrong for not shaking your hand." And Anthony actually shook his hand. But Anthony was better than me. I would have told him this was what I would have given him. Like, no, you're not gonna sit here and disrespect me. And that's what Anthony told the deadbeat, not the deadbeat, but the murderer. When the deadbeat left, he was like, you know, you want me to like him, but I don't like him. Like, that was disrespectful. Like, I extended my hand to him to shake my hand, and he did not want to shake my hand. Like, but she said, but he did eventually shake your hand. That was after the fact, dumbass. Like, it was after the fact. I was with Anthony on that one. No. And again, I wouldn't have shook his hand when he stuck it out that second time. I would have said, nigga, fuck you, ain't your hand. Well, not, he shouldn't have said it, but I would have said, nigga, nah, fuck you. You just dissed me, man. Dude, you just straight up dissed me. So no, fuck you. Fuck you. But that's it. Let's pause here and move forward, you guys. Justine and Michael, you guys. I don't know how I feel about Justine and Michael because I have mixed feelings about Michael, right? Again, I like Michael, but I don't like the fact that it feels like Michael is easily influenced by Mocha because you're a family man. You have a wife and you have children. So what does this whole... and here's the other thing that throws me for a loop. Mocha wants to talk about the fact that Michael on social media, he doesn't want Justine and the kids on social media, but you're doing a whole reality TV show and the viewing public knows that Michael is married with children and one on the way. So that's a contradiction if we're being honest with each other, right? So Michael told Justine that Mocha had an issue with her being pregnant. Who fucking cares? Who cares? Like, who cares really? Justine should have been like, oh, let me think about this before me and my husband have sex. Should I make my husband put on the condom because I don't want Mocha to get upset? Who cares what Mocha thinks, right? Like, who cares? So Michael is telling Justine that he feels like he's been forced to choose between music and family. No, you're not being forced. Now you are being given an ultimatum, but it's still a stupid ultimatum at the end of the day. When you just really just dwindle it down, it's really the dumbest ultimatum if we're keeping it real with each other. Like, either you want to be with your family, like you can have your family and you can be Montana Mills. Now, I don't know much about Montana Mills. I ain't listened to Montana Mills music, and I don't think I will, no shade. But, I mean, there are people, I mean, you will be fine. You will be fine. Chance the Rapper, everyone knows he's married. Everyone knows he has kids. So, what are we talking about here, right? So, Michael eventually told Justine he's not pulling his ring off, and I was like, thank the good Lord for that one, right? Now, they went to go look for a house, and I don't mean this to be any kind of shady or nothing, right? But I know it's going to come off that way. So Michael was talking about while he was in prison that his music was making royalties. Ooh, Michael, the music ain't that good. And I'm going to be honest with you, I had never heard of you or Montana Mills before this season. So how well was that music doing while you were in prison when nobody really knew who you were? Again, not being shady, just asking a question. The only Montana I knew of before this show was French Montana. That was the only Montana that I knew about was French Montana. I'd never heard of a Montana Mills. Let me know in the comment section. And that ain't me being shady asking. I'm actually genuinely asking. Had anybody ever heard of Michael before Love After Lockup or Love During Lockup? We never met them. Had anybody heard of him and his music? I'm just asking a question. Then them shoes he was talking about he sells. Sir, those shoes looked like some rip-off Nikes. I'm just, again, not being shady, just saying. They look like rip-off Nikes. No shade. None. Please don't take any offense to that. Because I like Michael, but I just gotta ask the obvious questions. And somebody even pointed this out in one of the last few videos. Somebody made good mention about this. Let's go back to, was it Love After Lockup or was it Life During Lockup? When Michael got that car, it was Love During Lockup when we first met Justine. When she went to go find out about that car, if it was legitimately hers, we haven't saw that car since. We have not saw that car since then. And you know something that I just noticed too? Mind you, remember they flew to Vegas, right? They flew to Vegas, but they're driving around Vegas in Michael's quote unquote car, right? Remember that car that Justine went to go pick Michael up in? If you guys go look at that scene that they went looking in the houses, that's the exact same car. I'm almost positive that's the exact same car with the suicide doors. I'm almost positive. Something ain't adding up. Let's pause here and move forward. That ain't got nothing to do with me. Amber and Puppy are next, you guys. Oh God, I just don't really like talking about Amber and Puppy like that. Get them off my TV screen, please and thank you. Get Amber some help, please and thank you. I think Amber is going through a bout with depression, and TC is not one to help her, right? So Puppy was talking about how she wants to quit smoking, and Amber says her too, right? So Puppy asked Amber, "Are you still drinking?" She says, "Not like that." I was like, "Girl, what does that mean?" So that means you're still drinking. I thought she had a bad liver. I thought Amber's liver was bad. That's why she had to get the abortion. And again, I'm not saying anything. I'm just asking a legitimate question. She said she got an abortion because of her liver, because of her years of drinking. So if you have a fucked up liver, why are you drinking with a terrible liver? It makes no sense. That's going to unlive you, but neither here nor there, right? So Puppy asked Amber, "Are you sure it's okay that I come to the house?" She said, "Girl, it's fine," right? So they go in the house and she sees the Christmas tree and she was talking about how good the Christmas tree was. TC was like, "Well, when you come in the house, you could have said, TC, you got a fucking beautiful tree." I was like, huh? Say what now? Okay. I mean, I guess that was him breaking the ice. I don't know, right? So Puppy thanks him for letting her come, by the house. He says, "You're always welcome here. Just make sure to keep the BS far away from here," right? So Amber had eventually left the room. So she asked TC, what does he think about the Amber and the bar? So they both don't think that it's a good idea because of Amber's drinking issue. Once again, Amber, I thought you told us your liver wasn't good and healthy to carry that baby to term, right? That's why you got the abortion. I'm gonna ask you this question one more time. Why the are you drinking if you have a bad liver? Like, ever heard of cirrhosis of the liver? Okay, just asking the question, right? So Amber and TC got into a big heated argument with each other because Amber doesn't feel loved and supported because of, her terminating the pregnancy. I'm like, the reason why that man ain't comforting you is because he did not agree with that. He doesn't want to talk about it because that's not something that he believes in. Again, I told you guys, TC gives me that he is a MAGA supporter. That is what TC gives me. Just what he gives me. But that is all I got for them. Let's pause here and move forward to the next couple. Oh my God, you guys. Now we're going from worse to worse. The next two couples that I'm talking about, the women in these two relationships, there's something wrong with both of them. So first up is Taylor and Chance, right? There is something wrong with both Taylor and there's something wrong with Monique, right? And I believe it's a bit of something I like to call insecurity issues, right? They're insecure and they are, actually that's really what it is, gullible, insecure as people, right? And that's no slight, no shade to him. That's really not. But you can just look at it. Definitely, it's a big, huge insecurity issue. I don't know what Taylor's insecurity is. She's not a bad-looking woman, and neither is Monique. So I don't know what their insecurities are, and I don't know why they have, because y'all pick bottom of the barrel ass motherfuckers. Like, y'all pick bottom of the barrel, and especially Taylor. Chance is bottom of the barrel. Bottom of the pits. So we see her and Bobby, they're going out, right? They're gonna go out. So Chance asked her, where are you going? She said, that ain't got nothing to do with you. He asked her, how long are you gonna be on? Once again, sir, she just told you, that ain't got nothing to do with you. But she's taking the baby with her, right? So she tells him, you just stay here, clean up the house, and watch the girls, and don't have anybody over here. I was like, okay, girl. I mean, if you say so, right? So Bobby is really worried that Taylor is going to get hurt by Chance. I was like, girl, I could have told you that. Even Stevie Wonder, Ray Charles, and Helen Keller could tell her that. Like, the writings are on the wall. Shout out to Destiny's Child. The writings are on the wall. Literally, right? So Taylor told Bobby about Chance's friend Tanya and Jessica. Could it be a platonic friendship? Could be, right? The question then is posed, if it's a platonic friendship, then why did he delete text messages, right? Why did he do that stuff? Because if that's been your friend for 20 something years, you don't have to delete the messages, because if you guys are just that friends, never cross the line at all, why are you hiding things from her? Doesn't make any sense, right? So we find out that Chance still ain't got no job. But in this episode, he is doing, I believe he was doing Instacart. And hey, nothing's wrong with Instacart. If you really work it, you can make a good amount of money. So he's talking about Taylor wouldn't be too happy about where the money's coming from. As long as the bills are paid, she shouldn't give a damn where the money's coming from. But the issue is that you are omitting things from her. You're not telling her everything that is going on, right? So while he's doing Instacart, she's tracking him. I'm like, oh my God. Why be with a person if you got to go through all those loops to figure out what they're doing? If you believe that your spouse or significant other is cheating on you, the best and easiest thing for you to do is to ask the questions, what the hell is going on? If they don't tell you and you still feel like something's going on, then you be like, you know what? I feel like something's going on, and I feel like you playing me. And if I find that you playing me, it's gonna be a done deal from that point, right? But to snoop and do that kind of stuff is just like, the trust is already gone. If the trust is gone, so you might as well at that point end the relationship. If you're having to do all those kind of things, it's just best to end the damn relationship, right? So he called up his friend. I don't know if that was Tanya. I don't know if that was Jessica. But he called up a woman to meet him at a bar. She said 7 o'clock. And he said 7. She said 7 is fine. So they're going to meet up there. So then we see Bobby and Taylor. They're going to go pull up on him. I'm like, once again, if you go looking for something, you're going to find it. And that's why I feel like a lot of these storylines are, really, to be quite honest with you, fake as fuck. I don't believe any of these storylines. But let's pause here and wrap up this episode. All right, you guys, so lastly, we got Derek and Monique, and this storyline right here, I did not believe, no part of me believed anything in this episode with Derek and Monique. I think everything in this episode was fake as hell. So, Derek was making breakfast for Monique, and, that part I do believe. Her sister called her and asked her, was he there? She said, yeah, he got there, but he slept in the basement, because he acted crazy about the phone. Monique, once again, like I just said about Taylor, if you have to go through those lengths to see what your nigga is doing, break up with him. That means you don't trust him. That means he can't say, there's nothing he can say to you that you're going to believe. So the best thing for you and him to do is to just end it, call it kaput. But y'all still together, even after you found out he still was cheating on you on Carlos King's podcast. That is a desperate, insecure ass woman right there. If I ain't never saw one in my life, right? So he asked Monique to trust him, and she says, well, give me your passcode. I was like, Monique. I ain't got nothing for her. So he says, well, I'll show you. So he showed her the DMs. He showed her his call log. And I was like, again, why are we doing this? If we're going through this stuff where I'm gonna have to show you, okay, so this is me texting so and so, this is me texting her, This is me texting my brother. This is me texting my sister. That's me texting my mama. That's me texting my grandma. That's me texting my cousin, boss, whoever, right? If I got to go through all of that to prove, no, I'm going to break up with you. I'm like, no, if you don't trust me, we ain't doing this. We are not doing this. So then we see a scene where Derek and Monique went to the club. This is where I say the shit just became extremely fake. So they were in a club by themselves. It was empty, it was desolate, there was no one in that club, right? So the bottle girl came over there and she was mixing the drinks for Derek and Monique, right? And she asked them how long y'all been together and whatnot. They said, you know, Derek said, this is my girl, we've been together for 3 years, right? So Monique was like, you can go. I was like, oh my God, Monique. I don't think that this girl wants Derek. Why I say that? Because it just gave, again, we're in an empty ass club. Ain't nobody in this club but these two and production and the bartenders and the bottle girls, right? So I knew that this was a setup scene because she's just sitting there. I'm like, girl, I mean, she could have left, but I'm like, really? So, and then when she came over there, Derek and Monique were taking a picture of themselves. And she came over there and she wanted to get in the picture. I was like, now that right there is fake as hell. Who the fuck gonna come over? And unless, the only way that this would happen, and this would have to be a full packed club where they're in a VIP section. Like, if this, you know, people know who they are now, right? I would have understood that. I would have been like, okay, yeah, she's just somebody who knows them from Love After Lockup. And so she just wanted a picture, right? Because if this were real, it would have been a packed club. They would have been a VIP section. They would have been hosting an event. They would have been hosting a club. And I could see that the bottle girl was like, can I get a picture with y'all? Y'all famous. But she would have then tried to get in the middle. She would have been like, can I get in the middle of y'all? Not her on the other side of Derek. And he's sandwiched in between her and Monique. Y'all want me to believe that? But okay, if that's what y'all want me to believe, I don't. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel, you guys. Turn your post notifications on. Share the video, and until the next time, stay safe. Take care of yourselves. Wash your hands, you guys. Be blessed. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.